Hello everyone, welcome back to the Power BI projects tutorial. This is the tutorial for the email marketing analysis project in Power BI. In the introductory video, we have already seen that how our final report is going to look like. Also, we have taken a look at the agenda of this particular project. The agenda is to find out the target customer base that are most likely to sign up for our email newsletters. Okay, so this is the data that is available. It is in the form of an Excel file. We have imported it using this option, that is import data from Excel option, that is present in Power BI. Once you have got a data in the navigator, you can just click on the transform data option. Why we are going to use this option is because we are going to make some changes in the data, because I know that there are some inconsistencies in the data and there are some columns which I don't need while analysis, like this column 1 is not needed. The inconsistencies present are these null values for the city and the state and many other inconsistencies as well. So let's click on this transform data option and wait for a few seconds till the Power Query editor opens up this data set so that we can work with it. Now this data set is opened. First of all, what we are going to do is take a look at the columns that we don't need. So I'm not needing this column 1, so I can just select that particular column. In the home tab, there is this option to remove that column. Now if I select this remove option, then that particular column would be removed. Now this column is not removed from the actual dataset, but only the dataset that we would be using in Power BI. And as soon as we applied this step, in the applied steps column, you can see that these are the list of the operations that have been performed. Some of these operations are performed by default in the Power Query editor. The rest are the ones that we manually perform. So all of them are listed over here. If you want to undo an operation, you can simply just click on this cross symbol and that operation would be undone. So I just want to redo it. So let me just remove this column once again, and then again we have got this removed columns option. Now the second thing is, let's just identify some more columns which we don't want. Like we don't want the type because it is all individuals. So let's just remove this type column as well. Next we have the postal code information, which we don't need. So let's just remove that. We don't need this birth date column as well. So let's just remove that as well. Okay, so these are the columns that we are left with, that is status, city, state, gender code, marital status, enrolled on, and living status. Okay, so what we are going to do now is remove the inconsistencies. How do we remove it? One of the major inconsistencies is the presence of the null values. We have almost 10,000 rows in this particular data set, and if you want to know the count of the null values, so what you can do is select that particular column on which the null value is present, go on to this drop down icon, and you will be getting all these values that are available, right? You want to remove the null values from it because that's only a small section. You can just uncheck all those cities or all those values that you want to remove. Like I don't want this 24 Parganas city because this is not a valid city name. The city name must start with a alphabet and has all the alphabets in it. Okay, so I'm just going to remove these. Why I am able to remove these? Because there was only a small population of these kind of values. As compared to the 10,000 rows, if I just remove around 10 or 50 columns, then it doesn't matter. It has no effect on the data as a whole. Similarly, we can just check for the null values in the state. There are no null values. The gender code, we have these kind of values: female, male, not mention, and other. So not mention, that means the people who have not mentioned their gender, so we can just remove them as well because we want the analysis based upon the gender, right? So these are the three values that are acceptable, so we can just click on OK. And one more thing, instead of gender code, I'm just going to rename this column to gender. Why I am doing this we will be able to understand when we are working with the visualizations in the Power BI desktop. So I will explain that later on. The next thing is the casing. Like I'm getting male and female in all caps. So how do I change this? Like, I don't want it in all uppercase letters. I want it in a simple sentence case. That's more valid, more acceptable form of expressing the data. So how do I do that? Make sure the column is selected, go to transform, and here is this option of format. Here you can just select the formatting option. So I'm going with capitalize each word, so as to get the better looking way. Similarly, the same thing I can do with states as well. So format, capitalize each word, so as to get this kind of a value. Furthermore, there was another inconsistency in the state. If I just remove this particular column, particular step, if I go into states, you can see we are getting two values for Andhra Pradesh. One is all caps and the other is just the first words caps. Similarly, we are getting it for different states as well, like Telangana. So this is again an inconsistency which can be removed through capitalizing each word. Now if I just go there, we have got only one value for Andhra Pradesh, we have got only one value for Telangana. Similarly, for the gender also, we can just format it to capitalize each word. Now we have the Marshall status. First of all, let's just turn it into Marshall space status, so as to get a better understanding. The possible values that we have is M and U, that is married and unmarried. Okay, now what we can do is either we can just change these values as M, replace this M with a married and replace this U with an unmarried, or what we can do is just keep them as it is, and while we are analyzing there in the Power BI desktop, then while visualizing this particular column, we can make changes, right? So I'm going to keep this column as it is, so as to show you how to make the changes while visualizing the data. Next, what we are going to do is look on this column, that is this enrolled on column. So we have two information, that is the enrolled date and the enrolled time. Now, in this case, we can split these into two different columns, one for the enrolled date and the other for the enrolled time. So we have the option to split the column. Let's just go into this, but before that we have to find out the criteria on the basis of which we are going to split it, right? So if you see, we are getting a space between date and time, so we would be using this only to split these two columns. But the thing is that after the time is written, we are getting this AM and PM, but that is also separated by space, right? So this thing also must be kept in mind. Keeping these things in mind, let's see how can we split the column. Let's go to the split column option by delimiter. That means the space symbol would be used to split these columns. So first of all, you have to select the delimiter, the space is there, and then is this split add option. So we have three options, that each occurrence of the delimiter, rightmost delimiter or the leftmost delimiter. Let's go with the leftmost delimiter. What will it do? It will extract the data from the leftmost side. So this is the left side, it will just traverse here. See that this whole date part split in one column and the remaining part would be split into another column, right? And make sure the scored character is set to none and click on OK. When you do that, you see we have two columns now, enrolled on point 1 and enrolled on point 2. So let's just change this to enrolled on date and enrolled on time. You need to make very sure that the column names that you are giving are precise or have a definite meaning to them. Okay. Next you have is the living status. So we have three values: couple with children, couple without children, and single or living alone. So let's just go with these values only. We don't need to change them. All we can do is format them to capitalize each word, so as to get some consistency in the data. That's it. Okay. Now moving on to this status, we have got the values as active and inactive. That's okay. That's great. Next we have is the city. Let's just check the city values if any of the inconsistencies are present in here. So yeah, the inconsistency is present about the capitalization of the words, right? So what we can do is just format it to first lowercase and then format it to capitalize each word. Now what it did is that it removed the inconsistency that we had with the Hyderabad city. Okay, so now we have three values for Hyderabad city and Hyderabad southeast. We are going with that only because it is a possibility that there might be different versions of that particular city. So I think all the inconsistencies in the data have been removed, and this is exactly the data that we wanted. Now once you are satisfied with your data, make sure you check all the columns names as well. Once you are satisfied with that, what we can do is just change the name of this particular this particular table. So let me just name it as email marketing. And then once you're done with that, go to the home tab and use this close and apply button. What will it do? It will just close the Power Query editor and apply the changes onto your dataset. Once the changes have been applied, it will load that particular dataset into your Power BI desktop. And once the dataset is loaded in the Power BI desktop, you have the full freedom to use it as per your wish to create the different kinds of visualizations. So here you can see that the dataset is being loaded. It is going to take a few seconds depending upon the size of the data. You can also see the data size in KBs, that is how much data size it is taking. Once it has been loaded, you will see in the fields pane that this particular data set is available. If you just drop it down, then you will see all the columns that are available over here, right? And these are the columns that we would be using in creating our Power BI report. So that is all in this video. We will see all about the creation of the reports in the next video. Thanks for watching this one.